Today's review, we're going back to one of my favourite breweries, certainly for the last year. This is Azvex and their Visual Calculus. It's an IPA, but what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to Azvex. Visual Calculus is their latest beer in this rather striking, very brightly coloured can. I think this looks pretty damn good. This is a 7% IPA. We've got Strata, which got HPC 586, which apparently is getting a proper name very soon, and also Nelson Sauvin, 7%. This is going to be a good one. I'm sure it is. So let's crack it open, get it in a glass, and see if it's any good. Yeah, looking forward to this. I love Azvex. They release so many beers now. They're a bit like Polly's in terms of 3 or 4 beers every week, so I can't always keep track of them. I know some are slipping through the net, as it were, but I like the idea of this one, so I thought, yeah, I've got to try this one. And let's see what it's all about. Well, beer in a glass. We've got this very hazy, yellowy. I wouldn't quite call it to that point of custardy colour, but it's pretty damn yellowy and opaque. A finger literally of, I'd say it's fairly compacted head, but I don't think that's going to stick around. Looks pretty damn good. Let's see what the aroma's like. Yeah, certainly lots of that Strata, Nelson Sauvin in there. Lots of that weediness, bit of passion fruit. Then you've got this sort of grape and gooseberry coming in. It smells all right. Let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Quite a lot of carbonation for this beer, sort of beer. Expecting something a bit soft, but there's a little bit of zingy carbonation. Strata's definitely the big hitting flavour here. That sort of really weediness is sort of really sort of cutting through. I'd almost say to the point where the Nelson Sauvin is very much in the background. Yeah, I mean, it almost tastes, it's quite, there's a real lightness in this beer. It's not your normal sort of, for a 7% IPA, it's pretty thin. I'm finding all through the summer, a lot of beers are becoming a lot thinner in terms of their body. It has got, let me check, I'm sure I did read that it had, yeah, it's got barley, oats and wheat in it, so you'd expect a little bit more, body, a bit more sort of oomph, but it's a little bit on the, I'd almost say it's definitely on the thin side for a beer like this. You'd expect more body and you're not really getting it. Strata is big in the flavour. You're getting that sort of, it's almost like that sort of weedy, almost dankness is almost the flavour. In terms of actual other flavours, the Nelson Sauvin is really well hidden in this beer. You can hardly taste it's got it in it. Yeah, you're getting a hints of little bits of passion fruit, which Strata's known for. HPC 586 usually means more tropicalness, but that's a little bit lacking. Citrus wise, yeah, there's lemons in there and limes and stuff like that. But I wouldn't say you're getting really much in the way of grapefruit. There's no sharpness or sort of back end really to this beer. Straight away you're getting that hit of Strata, the weediness, all those sort of flavours, and then you're left wanting a little bit. And I think it's a little bit disappointing because the body is pretty thin. Yeah, I'm expecting more from this beer. Let's see if it's, I think how new it is. We got, yeah, I mean, canned 8th for the 8th of May. We're in end of July now. Best before the 8th, but it's best before the 8th of February. So, you know, wedding day. Actually, I say 7%. It's actually 7.3%. It's quite high. It's got a slight little tinge of alcohol. I don't know if that's the Strata, because that sometimes gets that flavour. It's not bad, but I've had loads better from Azvex. Not quite really well balanced. It's all about the Strata. It's too heavy hitting. Not much more I can say about it. I'm a little bit disappointed. thought this was going to be a really good one, and I thought, yeah, as much as I'm not a massive fan, I thought the Strata Nelson Sauvin bashing together would sort of create a bit more complexity and more balanced beer. But Azvex have done a lot better. It's a little bit disappointing for me. So let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Visual Calculus. It's a great looking can, but unfortunately the beer inside not quite up to snuff, especially for Azvex. So let's go for the scores, starting with aroma. Appearance. Flavour. Value for money. And finally, my overall experience. Value for money, it was about, actually I've got the account in front of me, so I can probably tell you. $4.99. I thought it was at $4.99, which Azvex make their beers are pretty well priced, I think. But you know, so that's still pretty good. And then yeah, I did my overall experience. Tying the scores up though, disappointing for Azvex for IPA, 7.3%. You'd expect at least in the high end of the recommended, if not into the highly recommended. But we're in the low end of recommended. It's only just recommended. Azvex have made very good beers. And as I said at the beginning, they make lots of beers every week. So I suppose you're going to get the odd one slip through. But it's a little bit disappointing because Azvex have done much better. And I'd almost go to say this is probably the worst Azvex I've had in terms of balance. It's just not quite there. So total score, yeah, it's just about recommended. You know, I think some people might get a little bit from it. But the body's too thin. It's a little bit too carbonated. And the Strata's a little bit too dominant in the flavour. So, yeah. But let me know if you've had a bad Azvex beer. Let me know what they are, because I don't think there's many bad ones. There's a lot more very good, and there's also good, and sometimes they're exceptional. But very rarely I've had a bad beer from Azvex. This is the first one that's not quite hit the mark, really. But let me know in the comments if you've had a recent beer that you've just had high expectations of, and then you drank it and you thought, yeah, that's a bit disappointing. Let me know in the comments. And until the next one, you know what you're going to do. Drink good craft beer and keep on rocking.